All set up and ready to go. So, hello everyone and welcome back to Satisfactory. So, when we left off, we were working on collecting some reanimated SAM. We need to get up to 1,333 reanimated SAM, and we are currently at 525. So, let's just keep on going. There's more reanimated SAM up here. We've got impure and a couple impures and a normal. So I guess we can go and gather all of those up at once, and that should be a good solid amount. Alright, so let's just fly on over. And how far is it? It's pretty far. We're gonna swap to jetpack mode, and we are collecting this stuff up using drones because we have to go to a lot of different locations, which makes drones just a bit easier. Alright, let's drop down to ground level around here and then get some slide jumps going to build up speed. Alright, we are moving in the right direction. And now that we have good speed, we can hover to just avoid the terrain. And it's probably like somewhere in this vicinity, right? Let's see here. No, it's even further. So the center one is basically due north, but let's head to this one first. And then bring the others over to it. Alright, so off we go. There's a hard drive, which we probably already grabbed, but just on the off chance that we haven't. Alright, yeah, already been grabbed. Dismantle you. Now we need to go just a little bit more this way. It might be up high, or it might be down low. Not entirely sure. Okay, this looks suspicious. Are we like right on top of it? Yeah, approximately. We are approximately right on top of it. So it's not on the top layer, so it's going to be down here somewhere. Here it is. Alright, that was relatively easy to find. So we just get a minor Mark III in, and we're going to have to get power out here. That's probably going to be complicated. Alright, so that is power sharded up. Now we just have to get the power line out and the belt out. Alright, so both of these... Let's see, where do we need to go to find somewhere where I've already been? This whole area seems mostly uninhabited, except, I guess, over that way. Which is a direction that we want to be going anyways, I suppose. Because that's where the other SAM is. So let's bring all this stuff up. And just over this giant mountain. So there's the power line. That spider scared me. I'm in passive mode, but it was moving around super fast. Alright, so now this goes up to here. And we just sort of keep on moving. But let's swap to the big power poles. Just so that we can at least get those placed further away. Alright, so the power is going to go somewhere over that way. And I see a belt over there, so we should also have power with that belt. Oh, that's the bauxite. Okay, and then we just have to go really more due west with this. this. Belt is going to go up this way. And now we just keep on moving. Flag spike. There we go. Bring that up to here. And then up to there. Alright, then we need to get this across that giant gap, which seems impossible. So let's get some foundations up to help it across. Like that. Alright, then this comes across to here. And I haven't like overshot, have I? No, it's still pretty dang far away. Okay. That's unsurprising. Okay, so as for the power, we should be able to simply make that connection. And that should be good. So that power is all connected up. We don't have to worry about it anymore. Now we just need to get the belt over. So ideally we can combine all these up to one single drone port. Alright, so this goes over this way. Okay, now that is some sort of underground, some sort of cave. It might be a useful shortcut. Let's blow it up and see. There we go. What is behind that? Yeah, that looks like a useful shortcut to me. So we're going to go out here and then just sort of wrap around. Sounds good. Alright, so this goes forwards. And we just keep bringing it along. Eventually the actual SAM will show up on the belt. And if it doesn't, then we might have a problem, but it should. Alright, so now we're here, and the SAM is still a bit further away. That's the coal patch, and here's the SAM. Very nice. Alright, so now we are here. We just have to get this one connected up as well. So we pop that in, get it connected up to a power line, which will then go up to a power tower. And then we're going to have to find something to connect that power tower to, which... Why is it so dang foggy all of a sudden? Oh wait, there's stuff right up there. Okay, that's easy. Just directly above us. So now that is all powered up. And we can now overclock it. There we go. So that is 300 per minute. And then there's this one as well, which we're going to grab while we're at it. And then possibly some of the spare from that one as well. So let's just get all of them over here first. So we're going to head up this way. And let's see, how far is it? Not all that far, but still a decent trek. I have to go up northwest through that little passage. And let's see if I can spot it from the air. Hey, look, a summer sloop. It's been like a million years since I saw one of those. Let's grab you. These guys are always useful. Especially when you're as low on them as I am right now. Alright, so then this SAM should be right down here somewhere. Or maybe up here somewhere. Yes, there it is. Alright, we are not getting any horizontal speed right now, so let's Let's just drop down and get a sliding start. Alright, now we're here. So we get Miner Mark III. We just draw power from that tower over there and connect it in. So this one gets all built up. And then we just have to bring its belt out, which, let's see, we're gonna have to go down a lot to get to where we're going. Alright, so let's just keep running the Mark V belts. This one could be Mark IV, but I don't like Mark IV belts, so we're not going to use them. Alright, now we should be able to just ramp down. Yes, there we go. And if we then just go through this way, and to the left around this, we'll go by the river. So we just bring this around here. And stop clipping through the floor and everything. Just have a little bit of height. Alright, so this just keeps going. And then we have to take a turn this way. So we head down here, past all of this coal, and then we should get there pretty soon. Okay. So just a little bit more. And here we are. And this is our other belt. Let's just confirm that it is actually working, because it's been a while and I don't see any stuff on it yet. And it is a Mark V belt, so it should be pretty quick. So I'm a little bit surprised that nothing has happened here. Was it not connected up properly somehow? Alright, we have to just follow this belt. Oh, I see. Wait. Is that the problem? Was that connection necessary? I've just forgot to connect it up entirely? Yeah, okay. So now it's just starting to go. Alright, so that's fine. This is why we check these things. So now the only SAM we should be grabbing is the remainder of that pure node that we were using for something else. I can't remember what that was even for. This ladder just goes like halfway up into the sky and then stops. That's weird. Alright, so now we just go back this way, and probably just on top of that whole thing will be the pure node, which some of it will be in use, so we won't get a full pure node, but we will get like a pretty solid amount. Alright, so up we go. Now, I think this was actually for our other Ficsite Trigon factory, potentially. Can't remember entirely. But let's take a look. Alright, so this is 1200 SAM per minute, and it's running at 100%. Is it synced, or is it actually doing all that? Okay, so it runs into this row of smart splitters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes. And that is going to make, what, 300 reanimated SAM, which is is not getting sunk. We are, in fact, using all of it at this. So this is our Ficsite Trigons for belts production. I don't actually want to mess with this. I didn't realize I used the literal entire thing. But yeah, so this provides the Ficsite Trigons for belt crafting, which I am fine with. So this is a preview of what we're going to be doing, but this is on a smaller scale. So yeah, we're not going to mess with this. If we're using all of it, we're using all of it. I don't want to decrease the amount of stuff that's going to belts if I can help it. So we just head south and grab the rest of this SAM. Alright. So we just have to craft this up to reanimated SAM and shove it in a drone port. And it should actually be 1200, right? Because we have 600. We have 600 there, plus 300 plus 300. Right, that's impure. That's normal. This one is impure. So we have 1200. So it is just going to be... It's just going to be that. Alright, so let's first get a couple of 4-meter foundations just so that this stacks above the ground level. And then we just make the foundation. And it can go out like that. And that should probably be mostly enough space. So we get constructors in here. And these, let's swap back to hover pack now that we're building. And we're making a reanimated SAM. And let's max overclock them because we do have a lot of SAM to work with. So this is 300, 600, 900, 1200. And let's get rid of that random tree. Boom, gone. Alright, so this should be all of that we need. Now we can power them up. And right, you are going to need to be upgraded. Alright, so now as far as the inputs go, our normal belt needs to go into 2, but these belts only need to go into like 1 each, right? So you just carry your 300 directly into that. And you... something gone wrong with the trains. Yeah, something has gone wrong with the trains. We will fix that in a moment. For now, let's just get this all sorted out. So we get that in, and then we have this belt, which we need it to come up over this way and stay sort of as far wide as it can be before just wrapping into that. Alright, so then we merge all this up. 2, 3, and 4. And we get a drone port, which we're going to need more space. So let's just make this sort of bigger in all those ways, and then we can get a drone port in. And we connect the drone port into that, and we power it up. Then you get a drone, and this is... Where are we on the map right now? Sort of just east. So this is Eastern Sam, and it is going to Reanimated Sam Destination 3, probably. And then it gets a chunk of rocket fuel, which I need to grab. Rocket fuel in there. And we should be all good. We just need to actually connect these up to their mergers. And then it just goes across like that. And this is 300 more Reanimated Sam. So we are up to 825. And that should be good for now. So next, we need to get all the way up there, which is going to be somewhat easier said than done, because we need to figure out what went wrong with our train system. So we are up here now, which is a decent start. Okay, there's actually a ladder over here. That's convenient. And a hard drive. Are you... Yes, okay. So you can be dismantled. And then we move on. So we have this ladder right here, which we can use to get up. There we go. And I believe just flying is going to be faster, but we are just going to be using the ladder to recharge. Alright, we are up. Now we need to just find where this traffic jam started and why. Preferably before it breaks something which is essential for something important. Okay, so this was the old aluminum factory that we're on right now, actually, which seems to not quite be working properly. So we're going to have to look into that as well, but for now, let's just get out to here. And so all the trains going this way are stuck. The trains coming back seem mostly fine. Alright, so the problem is these two trains probably both want to go into here, because otherwise they could just go through without any difficulties. So they want to go into here, but this guy is in the way. And you're waiting here because you are here. Well, I mean, this area is a bit of a mess, so you could be wanting to go anywhere, basically. So let's just investigate where exactly. What train is this? This is heading to the Caterium distributor. Alright, so the reason you're stuck is because you can't get up this way because of this. And yeah, so this has just turned into this sort of loop of death again, where basically everyone is waiting on just a bit in front of them to move. Now, I wonder if we just cut this section out and force all of the trains to come in and out of this area through back there, that would prevent this from being a loop, right? Which might be helpful. But I feel like the loop should be fine, and that it's some weird stuff with the rest of this in here that's the problem. Alright, so anyways, that train is moving. So what you are going to be doing, we're going to turn off self-driving for you, and you are just going to go for it. you should be able to just get out this way. But there's just an extra intersection here. Alright, so that will have helped a little bit. Alright, so you can then do that. So these trains should now all be able to be moving, which should get us going again. And hopefully we'll eventually get this guy out of the intersection. Hopefully he will eventually leave the intersection. It probably won't cause too many problems. Okay, but what if we, as a way of fixing that, we can make this intersection chunk less problematic by just having both of these just connect up to here. So let's just try that. So if we make this a four-way intersection, why am I still in jetpack mode? Alright, so this goes out like this. And then we get in a rail segment. Okay, so this then just connects across. Actually, no. Direct connections across, I think, aren't allowed. It might be fine, but it might also lead to problems, so we're just going to not do that. Okay, now you need to, like, go out a little bit further, like, back to there. Which is probably going to cause some weird problems, but hopefully nothing too extreme. So that is all connected up. Then we have a pass signal there and a block signal there. And then we need you to also connect up to this, which isn't, I don't know if it's quite spaced properly, but we can get it in just like that anyways. Okay, so then this we're going to need to signal up as a proper intersection. So you get a path signal, you get to become a path signal, and then you get to be a block signal, you get to be a block signal. Okay, so now this also needs to be a path signal. Alright, so now this, I assume, is because of conflicting entry signal types. Yes. Alright, so temporarily we're going to be removing that just so that you can get through. And now this intersection is going to be no more. So this just gets chopped out. And a whole bunch of trains are going to have to reroute probably, but they can deal with that later. So now this isn't an intersection at all. Now this is just simply a curve. So let's take the extra rails out. So we just go like that. Why is my hover pack not working? What was going on with that? That was weird. But anyway, so now this is all set up again. So now this intersection doesn't exist. We take these bits out as well. And that can be a block signal. And that can be a block signal. Alright, so that decreases the quantity of intersections by 1, at least on the main line. We have this intersection back here, which is totally fine. Alright, so that should hopefully mitigate the weirdness from that. I don't know. We might have caused some other random problem somewhere by doing that. But hopefully not. Hopefully it all works out. So we do see, at least this section, we have lots of trains moving through. And this section, it is occasionally getting there. Okay, now this is a path signal when it doesn't need to be. So that can get fixed. Is this also a path signal? No, that's been set to a block signal. Alright, cool. So that is some progress. And trains stuff has been resolved. So we just need all of these trains here to move. So eventually the stuff over there will trickle through and get moving as well. And that should be okay. And then we also need to consider shoving some more things onto the top row. Like, I think I was going to do bauxite onto the top row, which would be handy. Alright, so that is that. And yeah, this all looks mostly fine now. And we've certainly got trains moving relatively quickly. So that is all good. And hopefully they'll eventually make their way through. And that is that. Alright, so now we just need to collect a bit more reanimated SAM. There's a normal node right down here, but is that just a single normal node? There's another impure node over there, I guess. So how much do we need? We need this much minus the 825 we already have. So we need 508 reanimated SAM, which means in terms of regular SAM, we need 4 times that much, so a little over 2,000. So that would be, I guess, if we grab this, there's a pure node up here, right? Yeah, so there's a pure node up there, which is going to be another 300 reanimated SAM. Then this normal node is 600 divided by 4 is 150. So yeah, if we get that pure node and 2 more normal nodes, like this one and that one, then that will be all we need. So yeah, let's drop down to directly beneath us. We do have power lines down here. And find a SAM node somewhere. Okay, so this should be northwest, and we have plenty of power lines in the area, so that should not be a problem at all. And this is practically directly beneath the hub. Alright, let's see here. Where is it exactly? Okay, we've overshot by a lot. This is incredibly close, apparently. So, is it like right by this? Where is it? It's hard to tell. Okay, it should be literally right here, which I guess means it's actually underground somewhere, which is annoying. Alright, so let's grab a power pole and just sort of bring it around. If I were to put an entrance to this, it would be like down here under this waterfall, maybe? No. Every time there isn't a secret behind a waterfall, I get a little sad. It's like, there's got to be a secret behind every waterfall. Come on. Alright. Maybe it's behind this other waterfall. It's gotta be somewhere. And behind a waterfall would be a good place to put it. Alright. Are you back here? Is this anything? No, that is nothing. Unless up here? No, that just leads out of bounds. Okay. Cool. So that's obviously not a good sign. Oh, but here is what is actually an entrance. Alright. Where's a power pole? Power tower down there. Can I just bring you up here? And then we're going to have to swap down to the small power poles once we go inside. And we go there. And, oh, I did already blow up some rocks to get here, apparently. Not sure why I did that. Must have been looking for a summer sloop or something. So that goes in. I have to blow up more rocks. There we go. And now this just gets lifted up. Like so. No, we have to get even more rocks out of the way, apparently. Because indestructible terrain you can clip right through, but destructible terrain, that stuff, you have to remove. Alright, so that is up. Power goes down. And there we go. Target production rate 600 per minute. So that is that. Now we just bring this belt out and get it crafted up and then into a drone port. Alright. So now we're out. And we can just build our factory here. And let's swap back to hoverpack mode since we're no longer exploring. So we just need a decent chunk of space. And this is going to be 2 constructors because it's 600. So we get 2 constructors. And that splits evenly. They get powered. How are they? Oh, because I haven't set the recipe. I was like, why are they still red? Because there are multiple different reasons it might show as red. Alright, so now we just set that one and copy paste. And then we just get the belt up onto the foundation and then into the splitter. Alright, and finally we have our drone port. So drone port just goes there. And we merge up. And in we go. Power it up. Give you a drone. Now we call this Central Sam. Because it is very much central. Then we go to Sam. And let's go Destination 1, I guess. And give you some rocket fuel, which I need to grab more of. I think I gave that last one like a full stack. So let's give this one like a quarter stack. There we go. So that is that, and we're going to add on 150 to this. So that's 975 reanimated SAM collected. So now we have to go really, really far north. So let's just respawn. This is going to bring me basically directly above where I was. And now we get a hyper-tube cannon pointing vaguely north and just sort of correct so that we're headed in exactly the right direction. So the reanimated SAM should be just there, right? Alright, there it is. And I'm going to need to connect this up to power. Alright, here we are. And of course there is radiation here. So that gets in. That's going to go out to a power pole. And it's going to get max overclocked. Okay, so first things first, let's get the power connected. So we swap to power tower platform. Connect you up. And then there's got to be something down. Yes, there is one right down there. Which can't quite reach. So we're going to have to go there in 2 steps, basically. So we go to there, and then we grab you, connect over to there, and that is that. Now let's just zip line back up. And that should be good to go. Alright, so yeah, power, check. Next, we need our setup. So we are just going to go off the side over here. And just build a nice little foundation. And swap back to hover pack mode. So, if we have 1200, that's going to be 3 constructors, or no, 4 constructors. 1, 2, 3, 4 constructors with actual splitting this time. So these connect across like that. Then we should be able to, yeah, just paste the settings in that I had saved from last time. There we go. Then we finish this off and connect it up with just physically getting it around the stupid uranium patches is kind of difficult. So there we go. Now we just get a power line. You're going to need to be upgraded. So then these all connect in. And then they all merge up. 1, 2, wait, that's not the right way of facing the merger. 1, 2, 3, 4 mergers. And then this is going to be another 300, so let's just use Mark IV belts for everything. So that is all connected up. Now we just get our drone port, which connects into there. Alright, now that gets powered up. We're going to call this Northern SAM and send it into SAM Destination 2. Then you get a little chunk of rocket fuel and a drone. So you've eaten the rocket fuel you need for the first leg of your trip, and now you're all good to go. So that is another 300. So this becomes 1275 reanimated SAM collected. We're just a little bit short. So now we're just going to go... That one's impure, right? Yeah, that one's impure. This one up here is normal. So we just head northeast. And let's swap back to the jetpack for that. And now we start flying. Alright, so we just need to make our way up to there-ish. I don't know exactly where, but somewhere up in that general vicinity. Which we are going to just jetpack our way on over. I happen to see a Mercer sphere. I guess we will stop by and pick it up. Although I think we're pretty much at the point where Mercer spheres aren't especially helpful to us anymore. So let's grab another one of those. Yeah, we have 11 spare. That is probably more than we're going to need. Alright, there's another one, but we... I'll pick it up. Might as well pick it up. It wastes like a couple seconds at worst. Alright, now where are we headed? Due north of this, and we need to get power, which we have power tower platforms right over there, so it shouldn't be too bad. There's a hard drive, which I assume we've already grabbed, but I will check just in case. Yep, there we go. Dismantle that. And here is the SAM. So we get Minor Mark III and max overclocked. And now let's just get a power tower platform in, connect you up, and okay, so going there in one batch is too long, so we're just going to go with one intermediate. Placing things that far away, the animation takes forever. Alright, so that connects over to that, and we're good. Power tower platforms, and just power towers in general, are so great at getting power across the entire map, and we're starting to get to the point where we've basically been everywhere, at least briefly. Alright, so let's get this all set up. And we can swap back to hoverpack mode for extra convenience. And the rocks around here are kind of awkwardly shaped in terms of us having enough space. But we can do something like this, and it should be fine. Alright, so yeah, that's definitely going to be enough space. So we need 2 constructors and a drone port. Constructor, constructor, paste, paste. And get them powered up. Then we get the splitter. Wait, we don't need 2 splitters, we only need 1 splitter. Alright, so then these go in, and it goes across from there. Now they merge up. And there we go. Drone port is the last bit that we need for this. So that goes into there, and this is northeast SAM. So you get another chunk of rocket fuel, and you get to go to, if I can spell it right, Reanimated SAM Destination 3. Alright. Then you get a drone, and finally we need to upgrade that power pole to get that set up. And we should be all good. That should be another 150, so this will be 1375, 1425 reanimated SAM collected. which, assuming everything is working properly, should be just a little bit more than we need. So now let's respawn and see if I can even remember where this was. It was south, right? It was, or no, was it due east? I think it might have been due east. I don't know. We'll get up this way and just figure it out from there. It's either east or it's like southeast. It's somewhere over this direction. Okay, wait, don't hit that. I think I killed a huge amount of my momentum there. It's fine. We should be able to just limp across. Alright. So over we go. This is time crystal stuff, but I think that is also the aluminum. Yes, so we are in the right spot. That's good. So now we're over here to the Ficsite section. And back to hoverpack mode. Alright, so these are our drone inputs. And we've got 3 of these guys, none of which... Alright, so the aluminum is going strong. The reanimated SAM is not going quite so well, although we did just get a burst just now. So, if we drop down here, that is... Okay, so these are going to have to measure up. But yeah, so that is now up at the 600-ish mark. And the other one should be comparable. Although... Is this working? Yeah, so it looks like everything is backlogged properly. So technically it's just barely more than a single Mark 6 belt, which is where this bit comes in. So that should be fine. And we do have even more drones showing up here. Actually, all 3 of them. It's kind of difficult to see. Alright, so that... Yeah, I mean, we've just gotten most of the reanimated SAM input in just now. So it might take a couple minutes for it to correct, but we should be set up to go. We have a reanimated SAM, and we have our aluminum. Alright, so all we need to do now is just sort of go over here and start making our row of... What is it even? Converters, right? To do this. I can have a massive row of converters. So this all expands out. And production converter. Alright, so the converter can go in. Let's just figure out what this is eventually going to look like. So Ficsite ingot aluminum is 60 and 120 to 30. And we needed how much of this stuff? We needed divided by 60. I got the number of decimal points wrong again. Is going to be 22.22 converters for 600 some Ficsite ingots, which will then become our 2,000 Trigons that we're looking for. Alright, I just realized this is going to need a train output as well. Can we fit another train in here? Another train stop? Yeah, we should be able to. Alright, so let's... Actually, we might be able to do it without even messing with any of that. So if we just... Actually, we can use our blueprint to place down a lot more concrete a lot more quickly. So let's do that. So this whole area is gonna fill in with foundations. And then back here, we are going to need to do things manually because it's a little bit specific. So we do this, and we expand out to fill in that whole area, and that should be good. Okay, so now we get a train station, which is going to face this way and be lined up like that. And I just realized that this is not going to work for unrelated reasons. Yeah, so we are going to have to take out these railways real quick. And, oh, I just realized I depowered this whole thing. Whoops, let's fix that real quick. So this is the input railway, and it is going to go along... It's going to go along this way, and then continue over to there. So then that connects back up and is powered again. And then this connects up. Let's see, where does it need to go to? There's like a... There we go. So that is all set. Now we need the other railway to be a bit shorter so that it has more room to curve. And now it goes over this way and around. Alright, so now let's get this station built in. And it... Yeah, let's have it face in this way as well. We should have enough room between the two stations for that. Since this track is wrong, so we can get rid of that. Get rid of all of this stuff. Alright, so instead we just have a track running along here, which these guys are going to connect up to. And then they get their signals. And then this just has to go back to here and across to that. Alright, it is now possible to reach the stations. And we're going to need to do a little bit of signaling. So let's get a block signal in there. And then these two... Okay, is that too far up? There we go. So that is now a block signal. And we're going to get another block signal just like back there. And then these guys get to have their own little signals like that. And now we should be all set up. So the aluminum can still get in, and we just need to call this the Trigon output. So this is Trigon source. There we go. That is that. So now we just have that set up, and when we are done, we're just going to bring the belts over to around there-ish and get that all in. So now, let's see. Do I have a converter blueprint? I do. Okay, so we get converters in. And they are just going to line up, I don't know, something like this. And let's see, why is this set down like that? So, okay, wait, if we need 1,333.3 divided by 30, right? So we need 45. Wait. No, these make... Oh, this is a tiering recipe. I was going to say, like, what's going on there? So these make 30 each, which means we're going to need 45 of them. No, because that's wrong. We're going to need 24 of them, let's say. So this will be divided by 24 is 27 point something. And then we just need to place down 12 of these blueprints, which is probably going to be an insane amount of reanimated SAM, actually. So let's just get those in. And yeah, so SAM fluctuators and radio control units, both going to have problems with that. So let's get them powered up. And let's see here. How much could we overclock this if we wanted to? It's 30 by default, so times 2.5 would be 75, right? So that divided by 75 would only be like 8 of these, but that would require max overclocking them. Yeah, let's just place the converters until we get bored of it. Alright, there's some more. Our SAM fluctuator supply remains pretty bad, but it is what it is. So now we have 2, 4, 6, 8 converters in, which means that if we wanted to, we could technically just call it here. No, we would need one more set to call it if we wanted to, but I think we're going to go out the full 24. So SAM fluctuators are showing up. Radio control units. Let's grab as many of those as we can. And the SAM fluctuators, is that full dimensional storage speed? Let's check, actually. We're not going to be in a huge rush because we're so limited by that throughput anyways. So let's just go over to where I'm pretty sure we make our SAM fluctuators, which should be over here by the space elevator. Let's see if we can like upgrade a belt or something. Maybe even just use a Mercer sphere to get a second dimensional depot on, if that's an option. Alright, so drop down to here. And this is the manufacturer making SAM fluctuators. Feeding them into this. And then this. What speed of belt are you? You are a speed 3 belt. So this is uploading as fast as it can at 240 a minute, which is like 1 blueprint a minute. Okay, what if we just get... Alright, yeah, so let's just change that up a little bit. So instead of doing that, we're going to have 2 dimensional depot uploaders here. And I need to swap back to hover pack mode. It's actually just like so annoying to build without it. So now you can output 480 a minute total, which should be pretty big upgrade. And then this is going to run out soon, but it is what it is. So now with that upgrade in, we can respawn and head on over. Alright, off we go this way. And we just move along. Alright, and we're here. And landed safely. Back to hover pack. Alright. And now we can get our blueprints in. Preset ourselves to build mode blueprint auto connect. Now we just snap in a couple more of these. Alright, so that is a lot for now. Let's get the power lines in before we get too far away from everything. So how many of this are there? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 power lines, which means 14 converters. And we can just keep going. So that is 16, 18, and let's get the power lines through. And now we are radio control unit limited, which is fine. That's just gonna take a little bit longer. It should only take like half as long as the fluctuators. So now we're up to like what, 20? So yeah, now both the radio control units and the SAM fluctuators are both a little bit short, but they're filling quickly, so it's fine. So let's grab some of those into my inventory. And some SAM fluctuators into my inventory as well. And should be able to get another placement of these in. Alright, how many of these do we have now? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So one more, and we'll have all the converters that we need. So let's just get that done. The ones we have get powered up, and there we are. So then this one gets powered up, and we're all good. So now we just simply need to, well, we need to get the foundation out all this way, and then we need to get the resources in. And that should be relatively straightforward. And oh, we have to paste the settings across, right? So we go back to here. These ones are set up properly. Control C, Control V all the way through. And this just keeps going. Alright. We've got to paste these settings like 24 times, which is a lot. Alright, these machines are so big too. Like they have no business being the size that they are. Alright. Settings pasted. That is that. And now we need to figure this out. So the the things that we had down there were organized into groups of 600 something, right? Which means that we're going to organize this into 2 groups of 12 for the reanimated SAM and 4 groups of 6 for the aluminum. So that should be relatively straightforward. So step 1 is to get the foundation. We need a floor to build on for all of this. So blueprint auto-connect goes through, and we're just going to place this across. Alright, keep on going, and just a couple more foundations left. There we are. Alright, so that is all in. Now we need to get the splitters. So we're going to start with... Well, I guess we'll start with groups of 3. Might as well. We also need to decide which floor is going to be which. And I think just arbitrarily the aluminum can be the lower floor and the SAM can be the upper one. So, if that's going to be the case, actually... No, we're going to do it the other way around so that we have to upgrade the belts less. So, either way. So this is going to be Mark 1 belts at the very end because it's 55 point something for the reanimated SAM. And we need to merge these up into groups of 3 in order to get the ratios correct. So get these ones in, these Mark II belts here for that bit, and a couple more groups of 3. Which goes there, and there, and there. And did I forget the center belt on this? I feel like I did. Yes, I did. Good thing I went back and checked. And did I forget it on this first one as well? Yes, I did. Alright, that would have been confusing. But we caught ourselves. So now we can fly over here to this last row of 3. We get our splitters, and they just go across. 1, 2, and 3. Alright, now we have 4 of these, right? So if this were the aluminum, we would stop here and bring the belts in. It's not the aluminum, though. So we have another row of splitters to do. So these belts here are already 600 something. So they're going to need to be Mark 5s. Wait. No, I think these belts are only like 300, but whatever. Mark 5s are fine for them. So then we just go over this way. And we get the other batch, which just goes across and a little bit further, but it doesn't go out like that. That's ugly. Alright, so that is that, and then we just put the SAM into those 2 belts, and we're good. So then we go up to the top floor, and we're going to have to do this as well. So step 1 is upgrade all of these belts for the aluminum. And course, some trains have collided. Why would they ever not collide? Alright, we're gonna have to fix that once I'm finishing upgrading this row. Why have trains collided and where? Alright. So those are all in. Now, where did that happen? Just sort of in a random spot for no particular reason. Alright, that's close to home base, right? Yes, it is. We respawn. Alright. It is... Let's see here. Where's... Yes, it's just a little bit west of me, so we're going to head over this way. And was this another instance where the trains just ignored signals and decided to enter somewhere where another train already was? Alright, so off we go. Alright, so now we are here. And this probably happened because of the two trains in close proximity, the two intersections right next to each other. So yeah, this one came out at the same time as this one did, and then... Yeah, I would just rather that they not do that, is the thing. Like, that's... I have signals specifically asking them to avoid collisions, and they just sort of feel like colliding sometimes. Alright, so we are going to drive you out this way, turn on self-driving, and problem solved. Now we just have to get this other one going as well. And turn on self-driving. Off you go. Please don't ever collide again. Bruh. Okay. Now, why did you do that, though? Like, why couldn't you just not do that? This is unbelievable. Alright. Well, off you go. Wait, why are you going this way? I guess... Is this where you want to be going? Supercomputer Caterium. Okay, this is the supercomputer factory, so yes, this is where you wanted to be going. Alrighty. And I don't know which you're trying to get to, so you can just go from there and figure it out. Alright. So that is that. Now, we need this train to get out of the center of the intersection. Alright, please don't get into another stupid collision. Alright, it looks like we're good. Okay, so I wonder if what happens is the trains register that loop and that path as two separate paths that don't intersect, even though they do. Because, like, they only intersect at a single point, right? So I bet that's what's going on here. Is that it thinks they're both going to sneak through the intersection, even though they don't. So, in order to fix that, what do we need? Oh, and the reason this hardly ever happens, because that train that we just fixed came from there and went in there? Maybe? It was like turning around or something? I don't know. But yeah, so that's my leading theory at the moment, that that's what's going on. And I wonder if either of these can just be made to be sharper curves. Okay, well, if I just take that out, then any incoming Caterium train has to come from over there anyways, which should possibly just resolve the issue. Hopefully, I don't know. Maybe. Because, yeah, trains are allowed to move through the path signals if they wouldn't intersect. So I think that must be what happened. Because this has happened a couple times now. So I think it's glitching and it thought that something in here, like multiple paths, weren't overlapping when they should have been. So hopefully just removing that fixes the problem. It'll make it possibly slightly less convenient for things to go into there, but it should be fine. So the question is obviously like why you would even want to make that particular loop, but I think the reason is just because you're turning around because I made some fix elsewhere that caused your route to go all funky. So I think we're fine now. I think we're fine. And now let's just head back over. At this point, we're close enough that it's going to be easier to just walk than to respawn and hyperdupe cannon over. The hyperdupe cannon getting over to this direction is kind of awkward anyway. Alright, so we just run over this way. And we're going. But if that ever happens again, I'm going to have to pay attention to see if that same sort of situation exists. And if it does, then we'll know that that is the problem. But hopefully we have solved it. And hopefully it never happens again. Alright, so back over to here. We have our gigantic row of converters, which we need to attach up to aluminum. So we've gotten them, the first row all done. Now we have to get the 1 to 3 splitters in, which are going to be Mark III belts into these bits. There, and have to go like around the power pole annoyingly. Alright, so then you go in, and you get there, and there. Actually, you don't need to go around the power pole, you just barely make it. So I guess that works. Let's go back and fix this to be less horrible then. Alright, so there we go. And we did get the center point in that, which is good. So now we go over to here to get another group of 3. And boom, boom, boom. And one more group of 3. So the splitter goes into there. And then we get all of these guys in. Alright, so now we have 4 groups of 6 up here, which means that that is actually done. We just have to get all the belts connected in. So let's run over this way and do that. So the aluminum belts are all basically stable, which is pretty neat. So we just need them to come up this way. And I mean, if we just go like 1, 2, Okay, that's actually not perfectly centered on the foundation, which for some reason I care about this time. So we just do like that. And then these all come down to here. And if it's going to be 660, then they can be Mark 5 belts, like that. And Mark 5 belts up here. And now let's just get them in. So, these each come out and in. You come out and in. Like that. And we just have to get the same for the rest of them. Which is going to look like that. Over to this way, as far forwards as it can go. And then in. And one last one to go. Out. And around. And there. And you might have to stop one more time. And there. Alright, so now we just say left any center overflow, copy, paste, paste, paste. Alright, so now we have our aluminum coming out this way. So finally we just need to bring it all the way down through this whole giant gauntlet of converters until it's all attached in. So that's one. Then the rest of these can go forwards to here. Just please don't do weird crooked shenanigans. So you are out to there. Now we just need to... Actually, let's just connect these guys up from this side and then bring them in. That might actually be easier. I was looking for little ways of improving efficiency. So this one goes out like here, right? I think you do that. And then we just keep going down this way, running the foundations. And then this one goes out to just the other side of the center line, like there. And then the last one, we just have to fill in a little bit more. You come out to, let's see, so if that was the second one, then this one needs to be out there. Also, you need to be Mark 5. I don't know what's going on with that. Alright, so now these should all be just straight forwards. So these just go forwards a whole long ways. And eventually they'll all connect up, and that'll be that. Alright, so you can go all the way up to there. Then the rest of these line up as well. And then we just have to get them in the last little chunk. So up to here. And then we officially connect them in. And that is that. So these guys now have full stacks of aluminum, and they're just missing their reanimated SAM. So, the reanimated SAM, we are going to bring from here out to that way. So we get a Mark V belt out like that. And then another one out just past the center point. So this one goes out to like there. Now we just bring this forwards until it lines up. Alright, so now we have our 2 Mark V belts. We can continue to bring them forwards. And then eventually... What is going on with that? Some weird thing happened with the selection there. I don't know what. So these are going to have to sort of sneak around a little bit. So we have to get in to this sort of general vicinity. And then we need to turn this way. Like that. And like that. Alright, now, is that lined up correctly to get past this? Yes, but the other belt back there is going to be in the way. Alright, so this then needs to go around this way, as do you. Then you curve in that way, as do you. Alright, now we work from the other side and get these guys connected up. So this one needs to go all the way around, which is going to be a bit annoying for it, but there we go. Get some foundations in for that. And out we go. It looks like the amount of reanimated SAM still isn't quite correct. I'm gonna have to look into what's causing that. Alright, so then, for now at least, those all connect up. And there's a slight wrinkle in there, but it's fine. So you need to get your settings correct. And this is very much showing that the supply of SAM is intermittent. So, the question then becomes, why is that? Is it because of these? So we obviously have enough fuel. That's not the issue. So you have 2 drones. You have 2 drones. You have 2 drones. So that's not the problem. The problem is that I guess some of the larger sources aren't able to move their reanimated SAM fast enough. Or it could just be a problem of how many... Let's see, where is this? These guys connect up here. And it looks like right now the only SAM is coming from this one. And the others don't have any. Alright, so we are probably going to have to go around and find out which of the SAM sources aren't exporting fast enough. That is apparently a problem now. before we do that, let's finish this off. So we have our 600 something Ficsite Trigons, which will then fit on a Mark V belt. Or these aren't Trigons, these are ingots. So this goes across, and we just fill all of this up. And because it's only one thing, I don't really feel the need to even sync these. Let's just get the Trigon crafters in. So this goes along, and we just keep going, and eventually, alright, so that is all that done. So now we just need to craft up a whole giant amount of Trigons, which should just be in a... Is it in a constructor or a smelter? And why is that the way that it is? Can you please just line up like a normal, sane individual? Alright, so if you just line up like that, that is better, and now we can use Blueprint Connect mode to get it to snap into itself. Alright, so blueprints, constructors. Yeah, is it a constructor or a smelter? We need to figure that out immediately. It is a constructor, and it is hilariously slow. Okay, so we're gonna need 70 some, at least 66, at least 67 constructors in order to get the full output. So, let's see, do we have a good solid constructor blueprint for this? Constructors, no. None of these ones up here. But we do have a blueprint machine. So let's do what I should have done ages ago and just make a dang constructor blueprint that is just labeled constructors. And that will even let us get this, it'll even let us get the actual recipes into the blueprint so that we don't have to worry about anything else. So we get 5 constructors in, and that actually will work, but we just need to push it a little bit further back. So we just need you to be far enough back that we can get a 1-to-5 splitter in. So we just do that, and then we go blueprints 1-to-5 balancer, and we arrange you like that. Okay, now these are going to be set to do Ficsite Trigons, and there we go. So if each of these are going to be 10, then obviously we can downgrade all of these belts because it's only going to be 50 total per second. So that is all upgraded except for you. Alright, so we're all upgraded. And this is the one which splits them first and then merges back later, so we don't need to worry about any of that. We just need to get the belts in like that. Alright, so that is that. Actually, we can do a little bit better here by just having these go direct instead of going out and then curving. So that one, I think, default mode looks better on. This one, we're definitely going to want to send it around like that. And then you can do default mode as well. And yeah, so that's fine. So now we get a power pole to get all 5 of these set up. Alright, so now we just need to get the mergers in, which can go just in like this. And then the outputs are 30 a minute, right? Yeah, 30 a minute outputs. So we just do that, and then this whole thing we're eventually going to want to be Mark 6 for the main bus. So let's just do that. And this is a 5 constructors. Save that, clear it. And now we can head on over and start spamming this out. So we needed at least 70. So let's go with like 80, just to have a nice round number that isn't going to require even more awkward splitting. All right, so 5 constructors. Blueprint goes in. And we're going to need to leave a decent chunk of space, actually, because we need to do the balancing in here, which is going to take up some space. So I'm even like this, I'm not 100% sure will be enough. Let's assume that it is for now. It should be. I mean, splitting doesn't take up all that much space. Alright, so let's get the foundation underneath all of this. And now we have one in. We just have to run around placing a whole bunch more of these. And does Blueprint AutoConnect work here? Oh, I didn't set up the Blueprint AutoConnect to actually AutoConnect. That's fine, though. So that is 5, 10, 15, and we need to place our foundation blueprints in. So let's see, that's going to be 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and then we can just do a second row. Yeah, that should work. Alright, so we then get this foundation all the way across, that little bit of extra space that we need. Alright, so that is in. And now we go back to our 5 constructors blueprint. So we have, alright, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, please, 35, 40. So this is half of what we need. And it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, this is half of our total number of constructors. Now, what I want to do is get this row powered on so that we can fly around in the area. And then we're going to get another row just like immediately on the other side. And that'll also handle how we get the belts sped up correctly, because we need 2,000 outputs, which is going to be 2 belts of output anyways, so just having it like this makes perfect sense. Alright, that... I feel like that wasn't working properly. This... yeah, this is not aligned right. Please just align to the floor. Alright, so you're aligned to the floor. You're lined up with the edge. Now we can place you in and just sort of spam you along like this. And then that goes in. And then actually, because of the way I need the mergers to output, we're going to need a bit more space. So let's just get another row of this stuff in, and we are low on concrete. So let's get the next row of constructors in, because this apparently takes 2 concrete, which is not all that much. Alright, so we need to push this back enough to have some space. So that should be fine, realistically. Okay, so that is in. And we just need to spam out a bunch of those. That is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. And then now we've had enough time for the foundations to fill in properly. So those go in like that, and we should be all set. So let's get power. So power comes up to here and across to all of these guys. Then we just run the power line down across this whole row. And here we are. Alright. So, now we just need... okay, yeah, the way I put these little belts in here is annoying, but we can just leave a little bit extra space for the splitters, which should be fine. So we need to do a couple rows of 1 to 2, right? And I hope we have enough room here. So this, there are 8 of these, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. So if we go 2, 4, 8, that is enough space. So yeah, we have kind of just barely enough space, honestly. But barely enough space is still enough space, so we're fine with it. And we are going to set this up so you get connected in, and then we're just going to keep going every other split here. And then 1 more of these. So that goes across like that. And now we have all those in. So now we just need a little bit more. So these are... let's see here. Wait, I actually didn't... how much is this? This is 10 each. We have 80 of them, so this is like 800. So we are actually going to need to set these down a little bit, unfortunately. But this is like at most 50, which means that these can be Mark IIs, and that's fine. So there we go, and then we have to get this one in as well. so this, we just bring this belt all the way up to here. Snap it into there, and get that one correspondingly. And then we need Mark 3s here and here. And then we're almost there. Alright, let's just think about the actual numbers to confirm this. We have 666 coming in. So these splits... Okay, so we have 666 coming in. Half of them are going there, half are going here. So we have 330 going into here, which is like 170 going to each of those, I think. 166 each. So yeah, those are Mark 3, those are Mark 2, those are Mark 1s. Yes, alright, cool. So that is the first row entirely set up here. Now we just need to do the same thing for this one. So we get a splitter, and a splitter. So we go 50 and 50. We go 120 there, 160 there. So now we just have to get the rest of this stuff in. So we get a splitter here, which goes to there and to there. Then we go down to here, get another one, and one more of this row. Building these is so satisfying. Like you do a lot of work, and then less work, and then less work, and then you're done. By the time you think you're like a quarter of the way done, you're really like 80% of the way done. Alright, so these are Mark 2s. And out to there we go. And then we need this one as well to come back this way. And in there. And then we need a Mark III belt to go all the way out to here. Alright, just a little bit further. We were just barely short there. Alright, so that is in. And now we just need to feed these two guys, which we're going to take that out. And then I guess we go out like here, and you get a splitter there. Wait, no, that's wrong. You get a splitter just like in here somewhere, just like that. So then that goes in, and then we go into there, and then down into there, and then that should be all good. So now we need to actually set these, right? So this is 2,000 divided by 80. So yeah, it's 25. So now we just paste those settings all the way across. And this, there's got to be some way of holding this where I could just hold down all the buttons, but I don't know what it is. Can't figure out how to make my hands work that way. So instead I have to move my hands around a lot. Alright, just moving along. Alright, that is row 1 set up. Now we're on to row 2. This is probably probably not good for your hands to be doing this, but I only have to do it like 80 times, so it's fine. It actually might be a healthy hand workout or something. Who knows? Alright, almost there, I think. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so that is all set up. And now we just have to connect the outputs up, get them sunk, and then into the train station. So this just goes in every so often, and each of these should be a row of 1,000, which a Mark II belt is more than capable of handling. Alright, then we get this row connected up. And there we go. Alright, so soon these will all be fully operational. I like how the default on the merger that it wants to go to is just like the most unhinged one. Alright, so that is all set up. Now we have our 2 belts of 1,000 Ficsite Trigons. And we just have to fly over here, and we need to get this set up with the train output, which is going to be actually marginally easier said than done. So I think we build this off of this level. So we bring this foundation all the way over here. Okay, but let's actually get the floor holes in first. So we get... Actually, if we want this to work properly, we need like 2 each. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit complicated because of the various decisions that I've made to get to this point. But it shouldn't be unmanageable. We just need to be a little bit careful. Alright, so that is in. Now we have to get these up. So now each one of these is connected in. And this is actually going to fill pretty slowly because, believe it or not, 2,000 per minute is not that much in the grand scheme of things by how much trains can do. Alright, so those are now all connected up. So now we just drop down to here, and we are going to get this foundation across. And I really hope that this level is big enough to fit an industrial storage crate. It is not. Wonderful. Alright, we're going to need to then go down just like a single level, basically. So we were very close, at least. So let's just get all of this stuff out, including this, which would just be floating over here being weird otherwise. So we need to go down 1 level and then get the foundation in down here. Alright, so now down here we should have enough space for an industrial storage crate. Yes, good. Alright, cool. That is all I needed to see. Now we just finish moving this along. Okay, so next step, get those industrial storage crates in, which, but with that sink is in a bit of an awkward spot. That's fine though, we can deal with that. How hard is it to move that sink? It's pretty easy if we need to. So yeah, okay, so we just need industrial storage crates lined up with these. So you would be like that, and preferably more like this. Let's see, does that work? Yes, alright, so that is a good alignment. So we just need to bring all of these guys down like that, and we need these storage crates to all be aligned in the same way, which there is a bit of a gap between them, but it should be fine. You just have it like that, and then aligned horizontally. Did I skip one? Yeah, I missed one. Okay. So you go in like there, align horizontally like that, and then this one lines up like that, and into there, and then this one goes to there. Alright. So now we just need to get all the rest of these connected up. And we just drag the belts down. So these are going to be the buffers for the train. And then we have to connect these chunks in, just like this. Alright, so that is in. Then all we need to do is we just need to bring... Wait, we actually need to sync them and bring them over to here with a 1 to 5 splitter. So if we just get... It's not a 1 to 5 splitter, it's a 2 to 5 splitter, which hopefully is manageable. Alright, let's actually just like... Can I just like make that a ramp? Yes, alright, cool. That, I don't know. That looks slightly better, right? We can run a belt down that, maybe. Alright, so we need a 2 to 5 balancer, which is actually easy, right? We just... If we just put the inputs into these two mergers instead of the splitter in the center, then it should be fine, because the inputs on both sides are even. Now, let's see. They're going to be 1,000 each. So, let's see here. 2,000 divided by 6 is 333. So we're going to be putting 1,000 into here, which is then going to go out to here, and yeah, 300 is going to go this way. So then 100 some, which should go into each of those, and it should, I think it might actually just exactly work out with the exact numbers we're dealing with here. Should I risk it though? Probably shouldn't. Let's see. So the other way would just be to have two 1 to 5 splitters and then just merge them up. And actually, we can just have two 1 to 5 splitters and just use both of the inputs. Yeah, okay, let's just do that. That seems a lot easier. So if we just get a little miniature wall in here. So how high up is this going to need to go? If you just go up to there, and maybe like one more. I don't know if that's like... So if we do like that, then this is perfectly aligned vertically, yes. So I think this wound up being a janky 4-meter wall, but that's fine. Alright, so we are just going to bring this foundation all the way down to here. Now, we have 2 of these, which means this actually doesn't even need to be a ramp at all. That can just, like, go down a floor hole. So, the floor hole in question is gonna be... We just fill in the entire thing. Just somewhere in this line. So it goes like there, and over that way, and in. Alright. Then, the next 1 to 5 balancer can then go, like, directly on top of that. Like this. And we do that. Alright, so now this just needs to, like, be... No, why would you do that? So this just needs to get out in a way that the 2 belts don't overlap. So you just go out like that. And you come out like this. Alright, so there we have it. Now we just have to get these 1 to 5 splitters into all of this. So we just do that. And let's fill in some of this space. Alright, so that is filled in. Now we just need to get all of these curved. 1, 2, and that's a 3rd, and this is the last one. If I can spot it. There we go. Now let's do the same thing up here. So you have to... You actually need a little bit of cleverness to get this one in particular to line up. So you go out like that. And then from here on, we're on these ones, which is fine. So these all just go out. And that is all of the curving that we need to do out of that. So now these just go into their individual boxes, which is quite straightforward. Alright, so that is out like that. Then we drop down and do the bottom floor. Like that. And we just keep on going. And one more. And in it goes. Alright, so if I'm correct, we just have to take our 2 belts, throw them in here, and that'll be that. So let's bring these belts. Let's actually get them lined up nicely. So we just do something like that. Then they can come along this way. And they can squeeze right past the reanimated Sam. And forwards over to here. Alright, now we are in the right vicinity. We just need our sinks, and that will be that. So we get special awesome sink. Can we fit 2 awesome sinks side by side in this area? Not quite. Alright, so let's then dismantle that chunk, put the awesome sinks out here, and then figure out how they're going to get up a level in a moment. Alright, so that should be enough space. Now we need a little bit more space over this way. Alright, so awesome sink goes into there with its classic smart splitter. Then this one gets an awesome sink as well. Can we get these lined up nicely? Yeah, okay, so those are now lined up nicely. And in it goes. And now we can get all of that powered. Okay. I forgot the smart splitter for this one, which we're obviously going to need. So that is that. And out go the Ficsite Trigons. Now this gets upgraded to a smart splitter. And this actually has enough space to run along this way, and then we can just pop the smart splitters up here. So that goes up to there, and that way. So if I just paste the settings, that remembers the settings from last time I did this, which is almost always left any center overflow. So then this goes up to there, and alright, now we're up on this level, and we can just get the belts out. Alright, so now we just run these guys up to here. And if I remember, I had these ones in like the center of this area, so if we just line them up like that, and then bring them forwards, then that should be all we need to do here. Alright, so this lines up into there. And we've got our Trigons. Very nice. Alright, Trigons, check. So those can go and start filling up what will eventually become some trains. For now, we're just gonna be getting stuff through these boxes and up into the train system. Alright, so that is that, and these are all connected up properly. They all have approximately the same numbers in them. So that's good. Alright, so now the supply of reanimated Sam. Has that recovered at this point? It looks good just at a glance. What do these guys say? You are showing a full 600 some. At least for now. And it looks like that's gonna continue being the case. Yeah, that looks fine to me. Alright, so that is that. And assuming that that's all good, we should be pretty much set to go. Why are you completely filled? 300, 600. So this is using all of that, but did I like miscalculate how much sand was available here? Let's drop it down. Alright, so this is, we have a little bit coming from that way and a whole lot coming from this way. What are you supplying here? You're supplying 600 and you're running at 100%. Okay, so it is just the illusion of that happening. So that is actually exactly 900. Alright, let's swap over to jetpack and fly our way back up. I don't like having that box be completely saturated the way that it is. So we're just gonna remove some of the stuff and see what happens. Alright, so now we are back on this level. Why do we rig the SAM all the way up here before routing it right back down? Don't worry about it. Not important. Alright, so if we just take some of this stuff out, we should eventually wind up with a perfectly stable box, as this incoming belt should only be 900, and we should be able to get all of the excess out, which it looks like has more or less happened. It reacts very quickly, although it is still overfilling. It is still overfilling, so that's a little bit mysterious. I'm not sure that math normally works that way. But if we just clear that out back to there, it should be totally stable. Yeah, that looks totally stable now. So that is that, and then as far as this stuff goes, looks like it's also going well. Assuming that this... oh wait, no, this is now... it does occasionally drop off. Okay. So that's what we're going to have to do for the next little bit, is we're going to have to run around looking for what is not working and why. So we have 2 drones here and another couple waiting. Alright, so is this just a matter of the drones not having enough landing spots, or is this just like an anomaly? Because it could... so it's either that this side with only 3 landing pads isn't enough to keep all the drones happy, and we needed to add like a 4th, or potentially even a 5th, I guess. And then the other alternative is that the what's it called? The single things over there don't have enough, but that shouldn't be, right? So each of these is associated with 2 landing pads at the other side. So if there were to be an issue, it should be on this side. Right? Or it's either... well, no, because it could be that we just don't physically have enough drones in the air. Like, we had a brief moment there where a whole bunch of drones were all here at once. But that seems to rapidly be not the case most of the time. Okay, so let's see here. How do we fix this? Yeah, so currently we're at a point where we don't have any drones waiting here to land. Which means that the problem is that we don't have enough drone ports sending drones over. So if that's the case, then all we need to do... Yeah, so that is empty, and then this is running lower. So we need to find the drone ports that aren't getting enough of their throughput here. So, let's see what else we can hide. Hide the trains. We don't need to see them. What we need to see are the drone ports. So, we have this one down here, which, why does that have like hundreds of incoming? That's wrong, right? Or maybe that, I don't know, maybe it's just got it backwards for some reason. Ionized fuel aluminum has outgoing. Okay, yeah, so for some reason on the map it's backwards. Right, we'll just keep that in mind. So Arch Sam's got basically nothing. Blue Crater Sam is stable, it looks like. So Eastern Sam looks like it is overfilling. Or at least very, very close to it. So we're going to need to get another drone there. And then, let's see here. Central Sam looks like it's doing fine. So what about this one? Northern Sam is also overfilling. Northeast Sam is doing fine. So it's just the two that are trying to carry 300 reanimated Sam over per minute, which are having issues. So let's respawn and figure out where we're even going. We're heading over this way. South... No, Blue Crater Sam was fine. It was Eastern Sam which was having the problem, so we just take this one. And we swap to that, and I believe this was just like on the southern edge of the swamp. So if we just point ourselves in this general direction, see if we can spot it from the sky. Yes, here it is. Okay, we almost overshot it, but we dropped down here, and all we need to do is just get in a second drone port, which should be easy enough. And we've seen that 600 a minute is manageable by the other ones, so a second drone port should be all that we need. So we just expand this out a little bit, get another drone port in, have it face the same way as the first one, and then this is actually kind of awkward just because of how this is aligned, but it does work. So just do that and that. Alright, so this is Eastern Sam. Can I like copy paste settings? No, I cannot. So this is Eastern Sam 2. You get half a stack of rocket fuel, and you get sent to Sam Destination 1, I guess. Don't think it matters too much. So then we power you on, and we give you a drone. And the drone has enough fuel to be launching, so that should be all that we need for that. So now we can respawn again and head all the way up north. And up we go. And just correct our momentum up to this way, where we just need to do the same thing again. So there it is, just right on the edge of this weird little ridge thing. I really need to figure out like what the weird geographical features in this are even called, because there's got to be like a specific name for all these guys, right? But I just don't know what that is. Alright, so let's... Is this going to be enough space out this way? Or are we going to need another... No, yeah, so that fits fine. So we take that out. And then we just get you all connected up. So this one is Northern Sam. So that this one can be Northern Sam 2. So you get assigned to Sam Destination 3 randomly. You get powered up. And let's see, I need another chunk of rocket fuel. So you get that, and you get a drone. Transport drone in. Alright. So that should be settled. So yeah, these were running at like 50%, but 58%, notably higher than 50%. So adding one more drone in should get them all covered. And it'll take probably a loop or two for that to kick in and fully fix everything, but it should happen. Alright, so now let's respawn and head back to the destination. So we just get rocket fuel and off this way. So we just head over here, and it's this giant thing over here. Sort of ran pretty far along the tracks there, which maybe I should have had that line go back off to the west. It's not really a huge deal either way. Alright, so now this is all set up. We should be in a better spot as far as our reanimated SAM input goes. Should be less inconsistent. Alright, so speaking of inconsistent, let's hop over and check how the aluminum is going. And it looks good to me. Okay, actually, on closer inspection, we probably have a problem. Although maybe if it's just the first couple that are like this. Why are you like this? What problem do you even have? Is it just a numbers problem? Or is there too much alumina solution? It shouldn't be that there's too much alumina solution. So let's check. Past those first couple, we seem to be in the high 90s percent-wise everywhere. High 90s to 100. But we are starting to maybe see some symptoms of water not quite being able to get out in some of these machines. So, who knows? And this one doesn't have enough alumina solution. Why do you not have enough alumina solution? Because you aren't getting enough water, I guess? Who knows? It's weird. This has never gotten a single drop of water. So that's probably better. But I get the feeling that, like, over an extremely extended period of time, this aluminum factory is eventually going to stop working again. I just get that vibe that, like, it's gonna take a very long time, but it'll eventually shut down, which I kind of hate. I hope that I'm wrong, and it's just a gut feeling, so I'm not gonna do anything about it at this exact moment, but there's a very high chance that we have fixing the aluminum production part 20 billion in some time in the future. Now, our Ficsite ingots are almost backed up to the point that we have full train stops. And then we'll be filling the storage containers, and then that'll be that. Now, our aluminum supply looks fine. Actually, that's the other thing we should check. Is this aluminum supply enough? Like, yeah, I mean, this looks pretty healthy, at least. So yeah, it looks like we are producing enough aluminum here to keep up with this in addition to all the other things that use aluminum. And hopefully that continues to be the case when we add... There's probably going to be a bit more aluminum supply in the future that we need to use for just a couple ordinary factories. So hopefully that doesn't become a problem. But yeah, I think we're at a good stopping point here. We have our Ficsite ingot factory. It seems to be either entirely functional or like 80% functional. And that's fine by me. So, our next plan after this is we're going to use these Ficsite ingots to... What? Actually, that's a good question. What were we making these for? Oh, neural quantum processors, right. I had noticed that this was something we were going to need for a couple of the future tasks, so I figured, hey, let's just do it all at once. But yeah, our next goal is neural quantum processors, which, now that we have the Ficsite ingots, or the Ficsite Trigons, we already have the time crystals from a previous round of preparation. So now the only thing we need are the superconductors, and then we will be able to make our neural quantum processors and unlock some more stuff. Ficsonium fuel rods we're also going to be doing eventually. We still need to unlock and craft the warp thingamabobs. What are these called? Singularity cells. Yeah, we don't have a recipe for those unlocked yet, so that's going to be a work in progress. But once we do get that, then we'll be doing the Ficsonium, and then we're also going to be doing the superposition oscillators to get to AI expansion servers, and then it'll be a whole thing, and then hopefully we'll be done. So we are coming along to the end of this factory here in a minute, so that's pretty exciting. All right, so yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out. Had a lot of fun here. Make sure to follow if you haven't already. I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time. I do Satisfactory on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and Factorio on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So if you're interested in any of that, then you can follow so you know when I'm live, and that would help out a lot. So thanks everyone for hanging out. I will see you guys next time. We're doing Factorio tomorrow, where I am like almost at the point of tearing down all of my factories on all the planets and rebuilding. Not quite there yet, but we're getting close. So that should be exciting. But yeah, that's about it. Thanks everyone for hanging out, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.